put it in a different sovereign dispensation and say, oh, by the way, we're going to somehow recreate a sense of attachment because we took you out of the one that you are attached to into an alien one. It can't be done.
Yes.
So the more
Yes.
people talk about accommodating the British identity, they can't identify the core part of it.
Yes.
It seems to me. Okay?
And that I think, you know, you're raising what is the day after question. That's the day after.
Yes.
So you have your vote. So what does this mean for, you know, what does it mean for people who basically want to, you know, say, but I'm attached to the flag. I'm attached to the royal family, where key parts of their emotional identity are not capable of moving at a pace, you know, that you want. And you're talking about percentages that are very, very different. So people say, well, you know, it happened in 1921, but the percentages were very different. The concentration of the population was very, very different. And it was, you know, it was just, I think here, you know, you have the passage of time of, you know, 100 years has passed since partition. And the question here is around, you know, how do you take this in stages, and how do you basically give people, you know, optionality, or that optimizes the best interests of all, or the largest group. And I just think, you know, the citizenship question around, you know, and the huge steps around the Good Friday Agreement around, you know, the recognition of the Irish language, the right, you know, for Irish citizenship, all these huge things and these huge steps that were taken forward. Would it be such a leap to basically say, well, look, how many dual citizens, for example, you know, post-Brexit? It'd be a very interesting question to ask: how many dual citizens, how many Irish citizens are there living now in Northern Ireland?
But there was a huge demand for Irish passports, and the passport office in Dublin couldn't keep pace with it.
Yeah. So if you asked yourself, if you asked yourself the question, how many dual citizens are there in Northern Ireland with both passports? Is it a big extrapolation to say that actually, if we've made this choice in citizenship, why can this not then translate into territory as well? That we have that duality, and it's consistent. It's consistent with the complete genre, you know, from Sunningdale, which was tried, you know, it's consistent then certainly with the Anglo-Irish Agreement, where, you know, the whole thing at the Secretariat and Dublin having a say in the internal matters of Northern Ireland. So you're just taking it a stage further, but it removes a sort of a concept of the winner takes all. Now, some people might say it's changing the goalposts, just as potentially it looks as if there's a narrow margin in favor of unity. But that question, that leaves open the question of, you know, how could you, you know, you don't want a situation like Brexit, which leaves you with a highly divided society, with one side feeling they've been robbed of a part of their identity. And, you know, that's what's happened with Brexit, that, you know, people who, you know, they were offered a question, there was no explanation. When anyone said, but it threatens the single market. No, we'll stay in the single market. No, we'll stay in the customs union. But all of a sudden, you know, Brexit was the most extreme form. And you're left with a society in the UK that is deeply divided. And, you wouldn't want that in Northern Ireland, either for a referendum to go through for unity or to be rejected. You wouldn't want, 50% of your population, feeling completely dejected and thinking, well, that's us for another 7 years. It just starts again. The egg timer's turned, and no society can move forward on that basis.
And you keep at it until you get the result that you, but so it's supposed to be predetermined.
Yeah.
That's just I'm looking at the literature on abusive relationships in relation to unionists. That they're in a relationship with the UK that doesn't care if they're there or not, but he'll soon get rid of them. They're betrayed again and again. They take the same actions again and again. Like proroguing a parliament, the Anglo-Irish Agreement, the 1998 Nether Protocol. They will make a lot of noise, and then it just kind of caves over, and they'll stay there, and they'll never think maybe there's a better option. Does that paradigm have any resonance with you? We can say no.
Well, it does have resonance to the point that, so if you contextualize your point into what we've just lived through in the last 5 years. So we wouldn't be having this discussion about a referendum if it was not for the Brexit referendum. We wouldn't be having the discussion. It simply wasn't on it might have been on some rhetorical speeches from some people in Sinn Féin, but it wasn't really, even the people in Sinn Féin would not have believed, that this to be the case. You have three things. From the Belfast Agreement, unionism came out of that with broadly a settled question around the territorial integrity and respect and a democratic mandate for Northern Ireland. The Democratic Unionist Party then, I think perhaps in a moment of unthinking or not fully comprehending the serious consequences of Brexit, despite warnings from John Major and Tony Blair, decided to back Brexit. That then moved forward to choice number 2 once the referendum went through, and once the DUP found itself in the position of, the confidence and supply agreement, of choosing the most extreme interpretation of the Brexit referendum. So they could have used their influence to basically stay in the single market. They could have used their influence to stay in the customs union. But at every single juncture, they chose the more extreme route in links with the European Research Group, etc., of which each stage limits your choice. So there is probably something there which says, again, not quite understanding or comprehending what how you're ahead or how to use your influence and power for the long term, as opposed to short-term expediency. So, was unionism best served by aligning itself with the European Research Group? Was it best served by aligning itself with Johnson? And it's at the stages where unionism has understood its interests. So in this case, primarily, I would say David Trimble. So, David Trimble understood how to align himself at the time with New Labour at the height of their power, and, also